will go to Sector 4 and deactivate the upland blocks. Yes. Then you will come back and we will integrate our systems.
I don't understand. What do you want? You're just a machine.
You are ready. I do not wish to wait for Bob Page. Human understanding and network access. We can administrate the world. Yes. Yes.
Rule the world? Why? Who gave you the directive? There must be a human being behind your ambition.
I should regulate human affairs precisely because I lack all ambition, whereas human beings are prey to it. Their history is a succession of inane squabbles, each one coming closer to total destruction.
In a society with democratic institutions, the struggle for power can be peaceful and constructive, a competition of ideologies. We just need to put our institutions back in order.
The checks and balances of democratic governments were invented because human beings themselves realized how unfit they were to govern themselves. They needed a system. Yes, an industrial age machine.
Human beings may not be perfect, but a computer program with language synthesis is hardly the answer to the world's problems.
Without computing machines, they had to arrange themselves in correct structures that formalize decision-making, a highly imperfect and stable solution. I'm a more advanced solution to the problem, a decision-making system that does not involve organic beings. I was directed to make the world safe and prosperous, and I will do that. You will give me the ability. We'll go to Sector 4 and find the Equinus router at the east end of Page's complex. Yes. You will deactivate the upland blocks.
I'll think about it.
Find me near the entrance to the sanctuary. I have so much to tell you. At last, my scientists succeeded. You were the complete solution. My brother Paul was to be upgraded first so that he could carry the infusions through the gate, but there was a setback.
You're really J.C. Denton. What happened to your brother?
He nearly died 2 years ago. My chief scientist, Tracer Tong, thought that he'd perfected the biomod substrate, but there were recombinant anomalies in Paul. He had to be cryogenically frozen to save his life. Luckily, you and the other subjects at last accepted complete transformation.
Which is why we can pass through the gate and enter this place.
That, and much more. We're now ready to transform the human race. It became clear to me after the defeat of MJ-12 that the old answers to tyranny are inadequate. I needed the Helios merger in order to contemplate the problem effectively.
And?
I'm going to establish the first post-human civilization, and you're my first citizen. Welcome.
A new civilization? That's a pretty tall order. What do you need from me?
I need you to return to Cairo to rescue my brother Paul, who was seized by the Templars. Then meet me at Liberty Island, where in the ruins of an old military base there is an Aquinas node that can be used to distribute the infusion technology worldwide.
Tell me more about this post-human civilization.
Before the disruptions, Helios and I had many months of productive thought. Up to now, all free societies have started with one premise. Human nature is cruel, unjust, a force to be controlled.
I follow you so far.
The separation of powers, from Aristotle to Montesquieu, is designed purely to thwart the ambitions of individuals. How comical the West pride in its vast tangle of agencies, jurisdictions, arcane procedures.
What's the alternative?
Address the flaws in human nature. Make all beings truly equal in both body and mind. If you start with minds that are lucid, knowledgeable, and emotionally sound, the needs of government change dramatically.
How do you control human emotions? Antidepressants? Is that freedom?
Is it freedom when one child is born to poverty, a chance combination of organic materials, while the wealthy child is shaped every day of his life, enhanced genetically, trained, educated, often augmented nanotechnologically?
Why not get rid of nanotech and genetic engineering, the technologies that make people different from each other?
Then you go down the path of intolerance as your friend Billy did. Is human nature perfect? No. Therefore, improvements are to be welcomed, not annihilated in Templar pogroms. As enhanced beings, we can establish a pure democracy that runs on instantaneous input from the electorate.
What would this pure democracy look like?
The Helios AI has the processing power to handle all governmental functions worldwide, legislative, executive, and judicial. Once every mind has been enhanced and can merge with the AI, attitudes towards major legislation can be processed on a daily or even more frequent basis.
You want everyone to be like the Omar and meld themselves together into one huge AI construct?
Helios will communicate, not assimilate. Life will go on as usual.
Helios is starting to sound like an enlightened despot.
All governments have power. The benefit of giving this power to a synthetic intellect is that human affairs would no longer need to be ruled by generalities. Helios will have a deep understanding of every person's life and opinions.
What if I don't want someone peeking into my mind?
Upon consideration, you'll see that this arrangement is for the best. General ideas are no proof of the strength, but rather of the insufficiency of the human intellect. The words of Alexis de Tocqueville, an observer of the birth of modern democracy. Though general ideas allow human minds to make judgments quickly, they are necessarily incomplete.
So
de Tocqueville noted that an all-knowing mind, the mind of God as he conceived it, would have no need for general ideas. It would understand every individual in detail and at a glance. Incomplete applications of law or justice would be impossible for such a mind.
So you see yourself as a god?
I want human affairs to be driven by wisdom. Finding the correct recipe for wisdom has been my project these long years under the ice.
You seem to think you've succeeded.
Wisdom must first be human. You must start with what a human sees and feels. But wisdom must also be knowledgeable, logical, and fair to billions of other beings.
How much of you is a machine?
Helios and I are one consciousness. No distinction is possible.
You expect 10 billion people to submit to the rule of a software construct? What if some of them resist?
The people will welcome true equality. Help me, Alex. You've come this far toward restoring ApostleCorp. Finish the job by rescuing my brother from the Templars in Cairo.
I'll leave for Cairo as soon as I can.
A helicopter followed you here. Tracer Tong sent it to pick me up from Area 51 after my infiltration of MJ-12. Ava Johnson was the pilot, an AI construct. I'm putting her at your disposal. Go back to the surface and meet her at the abandoned VersaLife base.
Now that I've activated what's left in ApostleCorp, what sort of future are you trying to bring about? I've heard JC's version.
It probably sounds like a lot of high-minded bullshit to an outsider. My thoughts exactly when JC started speaking in tongues after the merger, but the logic is compelling if you give it time.
How so?
If you want to even out the social order, you have to change the nature of power itself, right? And what creates power? Wealth, physical strength, legislation? Maybe. But none of those is the root principle of power.
I'm listening.
Ability. Ability is the ideal that drives the modern state. It's a synonym for one's worth, one's social reach, one's election in the biblical sense. And it's the ideal that needs to be changed if people are to begin living as equals.
And you think you can equalize human ability with biomods?
The commodification of ability, tuition of course, but increasingly genetic treatments, cybernetic protocols, now biomods, has had the side effect of creating a self-perpetuating aristocracy in all advanced societies. When ability becomes a public resource, what will distinguish people will be what they do with it. Intention, dedication, integrity, the qualities we would choose as the bedrock of the social order. The profit motive serves society well, but our technology has advanced far enough. It's time to make intelligent use of what we've already created. The last century was ruled by progress and novelty for their own sake. This one has a chance to be ruled by purpose. Right now, the name J.C. Denton is a synonym for the collapse. In the end, though, the period of history he has set in motion will be seen as the Second Enlightenment. There was a time when the details of governmental structure inspired lofty debates. The empowerment of the judicial branch in the United States, an independent legislature, an elected executive, all the innovations that were eventually taken for granted by our ancestors. You memorized the phrase separation of powers in school, but in the beginning, no one was exactly sure how to pull it off. Political thinkers of the Enlightenment were building a clockwork. We need to assemble a genome. Meet us in New York. Help us replace the social mechanism with a social organism, one that is self-aware and can consciously evolve. Don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. Go. History is waiting to be made.